Hey, we are back with part 2 of the Hidden Harmony World, Benita, Q&A. I knew this was gonna go long. I feel like we're gutting through it, but I just need to shut up and go, right? Shut up and go. The last question I just answered was about mists. They're not important. If you're using a pH balance cleanser, you're removing it with a washcloth, your skin's fine. Your skin actually regains proper pH about 20 minutes after you have cleansed it, regardless of the pH of the cleanser. Not that you want to be using a out-of-whack balanced pH cleanser. Out-of-whack balance, that was so incorrect and bad. You get what I'm saying? So no, it's a wonderful, fun thing to use, but it's not important whatsoever. Again, SPF Retinol Cleanse. Okay, now we're on to exfoliants, acids, enzymes. Woo! How to recognize overexfoliation and dehydration and how to treat it. Seriously, how do you know what you need, when you need to lay low with the acids? You'll feel it. And again, not everybody's skin is different. So, and you could be using something like a moisturizer with 2% lactic acid in it daily, and it's fine. That's fine. And then like once a week, you do something a little bit stronger. So I do need to clarify that when I say like don't use acids every day. I'm talking like an acid toner that's very, very, very strong. I remember like turning on QVC one time, and it was Paula Choice. She was on. Her name is not Paula Choice, but Paula's Choice was on. And she was talking about how she uses her 2% BHA like twice a week. And again, on the back it says use AM and PM. That is just guidelines. You can't write for every, Paula Choice couldn't write for every single person how to use it. So you do have to really figure it out for yourself. If you are using a strong acid toner, maybe 3 times a week, maybe 2 times a week, maybe 1 time a week. How do you know? Your skin will be red, your skin will be a little bit inflamed, you can see the dehydration lines. Your skin just won't be like plump and juicy, and it won't feel good. It could feel reactive, it could feel hot. Like for me, I flush easier when I'm overexfoliated. When I've overexfoliated, I get a little red, like splotchy areas. And really not very many people need to acid up that much. There's now cleansers with acids in them. We're using washcloths. There's now acid toners. There's masks with clay, which exfoliates slightly. Scrubs, light acids. You get the point. We're aciding and exfoliating plenty throughout the week. Like if you're using Plie twice a day, maybe an acid once a week. So you don't really need to do it that often. When it comes to exfoliating, should an individual use leave-on exfoliants rather than wash-off ones? Also, what strength and how often? Let's pretend the person has dry, dehydrated, and congestion-prone skin. Okay. Yes. I mean, by wash-off ones, I assume like a mask or... Well, no, not necessarily, because there's exfoliating masks that have wonderful, powerful ingredients that are sort of, in a facial, I do an acid mask on somebody and it stays on for 3 minutes and that's it, but the results are amazing. So it doesn't necessarily matter. I would prefer it be a leave-on product, unless it's a perfectly, I would love to come out with like an exfoliating mask and then remove it. And so that's sort of neither here nor there. What strength depends on you. I'm sorry, I can't say. And even with dry, dehydrated, congestion-prone, the strength depends on you. A dry, dehydrated, congestion-prone skin could be great with a glycolic, or I hate glycolic, could be great with a lactic, or you get what I'm saying, like everybody's different. So you can't put, and how often, this is the thing, you have to find that for yourself, or be in the care of a dermatologist or an esthetician who's gonna help you out, because it's I hate giving blanket statements like that. I would say a leave-on one 2 to 3 times a week, at night, or in the daytime, and then wear an SPF. I mean, if you want like a general blanket statement, but it's that rare. Don't do it too often, because again, chances are it goes back into the other question that your cleanser probably has some type of acid in it. You're using a washcloth, you're using a mask that has some type of acid. So, and then if you're getting facials too, you're getting an acid then. How do you know when you're exfoliating the right amount? Example, sufficiently to prevent buildup of dead skin without overdoing it, impairing the skin. What exfoliation types do I have for different skin types? Does that mean do I recommend? Okay, you have to keep, there's no perfect answer. I know you guys want a perfect answer. There's no perfect answer. We're all so different. Separately, the skin naturally turns over every 28 days or so, and they found that those numbers are incorrect. but the skin's exfoliating itself naturally, sort of, which is why when we impose, and we want to use the acids obviously to stimulate fibroblast cells to create that healthy, thick, firmer dermal layer. It does push back the surface of the skin a little bit, buffers back the surface of the skin and thins that out, but it is thickening the dermal layers, as is retinol. So we do want to do that, but the skin's doing it by itself. So, you know, if you go a week without exfoliating, it's not the end of the world. If you are somebody that's congestion prone, that's a separate, you know, it's a separate scenario for every different type of skin and different type of person. How, you know, if you're worried about buildup of dead skin and not impairing the skin barrier, do like a peel pad or an acetone once a week, and then use a washcloth, and you're not going to have buildup of dead cell, and your barrier won't be compromised. If you mean what exfoliation tips, how did maybe I need wine. Okay, what exfoliation tips do you have for different skin types? Sensitive, less is more, less is more, less is more. Look for something like with a lactic acid. Yeah, just a larger molecule acid. There's many more than that. A low-level salicylic, because it is anti-inflammatory, as long as you're not allergic to it. Even dry, dehydrate, you know, just don't do it too much. I feel like there's all these great acid products, and they only started coming on the market in like the early 2000s. Really, before then, they didn't exist. AHAs just came to be in the 90s in the skincare world. And then so the over-the-counter products started happening in the 2000s. So we're only like very early on into it. So don't go chasing waterfalls. Yeah. I just feel like there's too much and there's too many, and we're slipping it in everywhere we can. I would say 90% of my clients, when they first come and see me, have over-exfoliated. And they have a ton of surface dehydration. So chances are, I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but you are probably over-exfoliating. So those are my tips, is that you're probably over-exfoliating. Again, you guys have to remember, a washcloth is exfoliating. No, it's not reaching down into, you know, the dermal layers and stimulating collagen and elastin, but it's removing the dead cells. It is buffering the skin lightly. It's a type of exfoliation. What are your thoughts on chemical peels, and how often should you do them, if at all? You know, again, because of the over-the-counter acids now, really your home care program is so much more important than going and getting a facial or doing acids and peels and all this stuff. Chemical peels were developed for a certain type of super sun-damaged, scarred person, and then it was like, oh, this sort of makes the skin smooth. Everybody should do it. I don't believe everybody should do it. I also don't really like chemical peels for aging. They tend to be lumped into like, oh, it's great for aging. I haven't really seen that. It's great for pigmentation, and it's great for some scarring issues. So for me, I would just stick with, you know, over-the-counter acids and retinols at home, and not really worry about chemical peels. Again, if there are certain issues, tons of pigmentation, tons of acne scarring, I would go to a dermatologist, not an esthetician, and look at options for that. But we're talking severe scarring, severe pigmentation, not just like, this one sunspot here. How can you tell basically when your barrier is compromised? Again, it's pretty easy. If you feel like your skin is sensitive to like a washcloth, or even like water splashing, it's sort of, you know, like that feeling you have when you have a sunburn. If you see surface dehydration lines, if you notice a little bit of peeling, redness, heat in the skin that stays, that doesn't go away. So sort of the feeling that you initially have when you exfoliate, but if that feeling continues on like your whole day, chances are you probably have like a broken down barrier, or a I shouldn't say broken down, but compromised barrier. And also note, because this is funny, I was using P50 for the first time in a while the other day, and the tips of my fingers, granted, because I also use like acids and stuff during the day in my practice, but got really dry and peeling, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys. And that's because it was touching acids which were exfoliating it. So I see some people go like, oh, I'm peeling, I need to exfoliate. Slow your roll. Not necessarily, because sometimes that peeling could be a broken down barrier from over exfoliating. So it's not always that you need to exfoliate if you see dry, flaky, peely skin. Just saying. Food for thought. I mean, you guys, there's so many questions. Okay, maybe there's going to be a part 3. Pores and congestion. Comedones, Melia. How do I prevent closed comedones? What treats it best? Is it damaging to extract them yourself? Closed comedones, they can be damaging to extract yourself, because you really should be, I shouldn't even say this because I don't want you to do it, but you should, it's similar to Melia, you should be making an opening in the skin and extracting it correctly. So you can just go for a facial to get those dealt with. How do you prevent them? You know, it's really hard because for me, I get them from food choices. So I know now what does that for myself, but you could look into that. I think too, we over lubricate, and it comes from that as well. Too much product is too much product, and that can certainly be an issue. How do you differentiate between a pustule and Melia on a rosacea skin? A pustule is going to be more, this might sound gross, wet. Melia is a very, I mean, they can be larger, but very small, superficial cyst that's, you can't get out no matter how hard you try. It needs an opening, it needs to be lanced, and it doesn't come out that easy. Where a pustule, if it has a visible head, after a shower, like a light squeeze, it's going to come out. Not that I want you to do that, but I would say it looks, the Melia is not going to be inflamed at all. It's just literally going to be this white little pearly dot somewhere, and if it is on rosacea skin, it's going to be sitting on, you know, possibly reddened skin. But where a pustule is probably going to have a little bit of, there is infection in there, which in Melia there isn't, so there's going to be a little bit of inflammation around the pustule. How do you treat comedones on the long term? Once they diminish, you need to continue treatment. Sort of what I said before, yes and yes. How to get rid of pores? You can't. Options for minimizing appearance of sebaceous filaments and getting rid of pesky congestion without strong acids. Pesky congestion without strong acids. If you guys haven't watched Eve Loam's videos, and I know a lot of people do not like her philosophy, I love her philosophy because it works for my skin, and it might not work for your skin. And again, the reason there are so many different philosophies out there is because they all work for different people. So when people are like, oh, that's so stupid, hear them out, because it's, my dad always used to say for something that there's an ass for every seat. And it's true, there's basically a philosophy for every skin type and skin condition. And some work better for others and some don't. And the reason why there are all these successful brands is because of that. And so for her, she's a big believer in like, cleanse your face at night, remove it with the muslin cloth. Whoa. Remove it with the muslin cloth. Remove it with the muslin cloth and leave it be. If you're dry, like put a light moisturizer on, but otherwise let your skin do its thing. Let the sebaceous glands come up and work, and in the morning splash it with water and put on an SPF. So for somebody with pesky congestion, using that muslin cloth every night is a really gentle way to exfoliate at a low level every single night to keep that sort of the congestion, the pores coming out, and then not over lubricating. So you're removing the dead cells so the sebaceous glands can come up and out and do their thing and not be trapped underneath, and then you're not putting anything to trap it in there. That's one way you could look at it if you don't want to use acids. Minimizing, sebaceous filaments are hard. I was seeing Dr. Pimple Popper was actually, I think, using something to remove them the other day, but the thing is they're just going to come back, so there's also no such thing as, you know, I know that we see all these magazines and know that they're airbrushed, but we also forget it, because even when clients come in and they're like, my skin's so bad, and their skin is so good, and I guarantee your skin is so good, I'm looking at you. And I just think that we've tapped into this perfectionism, which does not exist, and it's impossible for it to exist, and if it does, it's a ton of makeup. So in terms of the sebaceous filaments, a ton of makeup. And I'm not trying to be asinine about it, but it's sort of true. How do you treat sensitive skin with adult hormonal acne and clogged and dilated pores? Okay, well, the first thing I do with any of that is treat the sensitivity first. again, this question is a little specific to a certain skin type. Anti-inflammatory ingredients. So obviously salicylic acid. Oh, but wait, did you say? Oh no, never mind. Salicylic acid, because it's going to be anti-inflammatory and it's going to treat acne, and hormonal acne. Hormonal acne, I've had a lot of people go to naturopaths and find supplements and things internally that help it, and it actually goes away. And again, that's another thing of what you put on comes off, what you put in comes out. So check on that. But salicylic acid would be your go-to ingredient. It doesn't mean that you have to get it in the strongest strength. Paula's Choice has some great 1% redness relief exfoliating treatment lotion, I believe, which would be great because it would be targeting sensitivities, hormonal acne, clogged pores, inflammation. How to best avoid and get rid of closed comedones, I sort of covered that. Breakout, how do you treat scars? Is purging a good thing? Yeah, it can be a good thing. I mean, you do want to get stuff out. Massage and facials helps the skin purge, or helps it purge, but it can purge from that. Obviously, certain acids and retinols. Purging, though, doesn't look like red inflamed bumps. So it should just be, congestion that comes up and out. And it really isn't these red, pustule, infected things. So sometimes if you're reacting to a product, you're like, oh, I'm just purging, but they're sort of red and bumpy. To me, that's more of a reaction. And people have way more reactions than I think they know they do. Our skin is sensitive. It's like a fine, even people who are like, you can put like a blowtorch on my face. You can't, no, you can't. But A, no, you can't. But no, you can't. Managing breakouts without acids, diet, meditation. Diet's a huge one. For me, acid in my system creates breakouts. So we're talking red wine, white wine, coffee, tomatoes. It gets me red, it gets me inflamed, and gets breakouts sort of coming out. So diet's going to be huge for that. A muslin cloth, a light muslin cloth, less product, less application of product, less application. I think you guys get what I'm saying. Even if I sound absolutely batshit, you know what I'm saying. Recommendations for neck and back breakouts. Depends where they are on the neck. If it's like here, I would treat that with a salicylic acid based body wash. Changing your sheets, not just pillowcases, sheets, once a week, if not more. Fabric softeners, they break me out like crazy. Scented detergents break me out like crazy. So all those things play into, it's little things that you don't think of, but like for me, that solved my skin issues on my chest and back. No fabric softener and unscented. I know it's not fun, but unscented detergent. And it completely healed me of that. So it was not a product, it was just a switch. But those are the things that we do need to look out for. It's not just a topical thing that we need to put on. Best ingredients for treating dry skin, and how should we treat breakouts when we have dry skin? I mean, best ingredients for treating dry skin, again, that's sort of a blankety thing. It could be anything from shea butter to argan oil to hyaluronic acid to sodium PCA to lactic acid. Dry skin with breakouts would probably do really good with a lactic acid, but what you want to do is, and chances are there's probably surface dryness, and then any oil coming through is getting stopped. So you want to make sure to exfoliate whether with an acid or a muslin cloth or a washcloth, and don't dry the surface of the skin. Keep it nice and pliable. Okay, now we're on to specific skin conditions. Okay, these are a little, I could answer them, but these are pretty much like dermatologist questions, and a lot of estheticians love to step over their scope of practice and answer these, and I think I'm just going to, I might do another video on this, but I'm going to skip over this one for now because it's not in the aesthetic scope of practice in the US to answer these questions. I'm sure there's some in there that are fine, but okay, now let's, okay, wait, I was skipping all around. Let's do, this is hopefully, God, there's a lot of questions. Okay, this is the last big section, which is, when is, and it's going to be called the after show balm cleanser. So I'm going to have the after show treatment cleanser and the after show balm cleanser. And the after show balm cleanser is hopefully, I'm going to say October, and the chances are it's going to be before that. I'm buffering it now. The formula is signed off on. I signed off on it a few days ago. It is finally completed. All the tweaks are done. The packaging is picked out. We are trying to design one little thing with the packaging. The ingredients are in, I mean, it's ready to go. So it should be before then, but I'm gonna say October to be safe. If I could change one thing in my entire line, what would it be? Be it realistic or otherwise. My line's perfect. Why am I changing it? No, the only thing I would do is add an SPF and have it be like here now and amazing and everything I want. And then the FDA is like, yeah, that's great. It's not gonna happen. Thoughts on cleansing devices? I don't really like them. We got by before without. Okay, so again, the thing is, there are more products, there are more cleansing devices, there are more all these things, and yet there's more rosacea, there's more acne, there's more X, Y, and Z, and that comes from diet too. But I think it comes from over product, over acid, over cleansing devices. I know is it the Foreo is popular with a lot of people, but your hands are the best thing, because then again, you're also getting the massage. You're working on muscle tone, you're working on lymphatic drainage, you're bringing blood to the surface, which brings nutrients to the surface, which gets you that glow, and that's really where the glow comes from. So I'm about hands and face and washcloth. What is one change that JordanSamuel Skin would really like to see in the skincare industry, and something that he wishes all of us skincare addicts should know about skincare? It's what I've been talking about the whole time. It is less is more. When people come out and say they have this new oil serum or this new toner serum or this essence or this tone, like all of these things are just ways for a business to grow and buy or sell more product, and for you guys to buy more product. And again, I go back to cleanse, retinol, SPF. That is a anti-aging regimen that is essentially, other than like an acne treatment of like a salicylic or a benzoyl peroxide, an acne regimen. And there's so many types of SPFs now. If you could really find a moisturizing one or a lighter one, and same with retinol. So they all work on different levels. So less is more is the one thing I would like to see. And honesty from brands, being like, oh yeah, we're not that they're gonna say like, yes, this is BS and we're just trying to sell product, but like, I see through you. Can our skincare reach a plateau or become less effective after using the same products target? Not necessarily. You can, and Narrative Joy says this, and I always say this too, when a client comes in and they're using products and their skin's good, we think like, can we make it better? And that's sort of the question of any esthetician. So yes, from time to time. With that being said, when you first use a retinol or an acid, I feel like we all remember that time. You're gonna be like, oh my God, because the change is huge. When you're using something over time, you're gonna see less of a result. When you come in with good skin, it's harder to make the skin pop as much. Obviously, if the skin is broken down and damaged, it's much easier to see that result. So that to me is, so no, not really. This camera's had it with me in my long ass videos. They're like, Ian, alarm or horn, can we shush? Quiet on the set, please, thank you. They listen to me. Oh, the plateau thing. So not necessarily, you know, sometimes it's good to check in with a dermatologist or an esthetician to see like what you need to bump it up. But otherwise not really. And switching products could just confuse your skin, or could give you a more pronounced result because it's something new for the first week and then it's gonna go back to the same thing. When will I visit UK for facials? Also, what about Italian skincare fans' product availability? So it seems like a lot of people have maybe not seen my videos on why or what direct-to-consumer means. So when people ask like, oh, I want your products to be sold in Singapore or Australia or the UK or Italy, I get that. So I do ship as much as I possibly can globally to the countries that we can ship to. And but being direct to consumer means it's direct to me. There are no distributors, there are no retailers. The reason being is then I have no retail markups, I have no distributor markups, and you are very close to getting the products at wholesale pricing, which is what a retailer would get. So I'm sure it'd be great for people in Italy to go to the store and buy the product. The thing that they don't realize is the product will have at least a 100% markup, because a retailer's gonna have to make money on it. So say Hydrate is $29. If it was in full distribution, it would have to be at least $58, at least $58. Plus then there's probably like obviously like EU import tax and all stuff that'd be factored in. So at the end of the day, while it is slow and a pain to order from me online, even with the shipping costs, it is still cheaper than if I was in retailers overseas or anywhere. How do I determine skin type and does it change? You know, I really don't like skin types. I like skin conditions because yes, things do change. If I did put myself in a type, I was oily from when I was 10 till I was about 22, and then I became combination dry from about 22 to 28, and then I became like sensitive from the 29 on. So there are ways to determine it, but you really shouldn't be determining it yourself. I would find an esthetician, or I'm shaking the camera, can you see that? I would find an esthetician or a dermatologist to help you with that. There are a multitude of products out there now, and many people following the Korean skincare trend of layered products. What about the value of keeping the number of products down to avoid irritating the skin? My thoughts. Oh God, yes. I mean, my routine is cleanse in the morning with Plie, the after show, put on hydrate, and put on an SPF. That is seriously it, and that's max. Sometimes it's cleanse and SPF. In the evening, it is cleanse, and then it is hydrate, and then it is A12 with retinol. Or A12, like if I'm alternating, or if I feel like I'm in a good place and I just keep doing that. I'll add a washcloth in once in a while, or once a week I'll do something like a P50 or a peel pad. And the thing is, again, like I said, there's nothing bad about that philosophy. It's gonna work. It's somebody that's maybe severely dry and dehydrated and needs those cushiony hydrating layers. Their skin's gonna do great with it. My skin can't handle all those lotions and potions and scents and chemicals and etc. etc. And I say chemicals meaning everything's a chemical. I know, I understand that. I was meaning literally chemicals, everything. And my skin just freaks out and it's too much. And again, the skin can only absorb so much. So what you might feel topically doesn't mean it is translating to the skin and to active effect on the skin. Keep that in mind. Okay, we got that, we got that, we got that. Oh, opinion on EGF, epidermal growth factor, in skincare, their safety, and if they really work for anti-aging. You know, I do know, I haven't seen any of the latest. When there was the first big thing about them not being safe, I was like, well, I don't feel like using that. There are 2 products that I have used with it, and I have seen absolutely no results. And I've used them fairly continuously in my practice and on myself. And whenever I use them in practice, I ask the client, but I'm sure there is research and they're wonderful or something, but I personally haven't seen it, so sorry. Okay, esthetician questions. How to choose an esthetician that is well qualified, experienced, and knows that what they are doing, particularly when it comes to performing extractions on those with comedonal acne. Ask around, read reviews, that's hard. Of course, a spa's going to sell to you that, yeah, oh no, they're the greatest, they're the best, but it's hard. I mean, I've gone into somebody who I thought was going to be like a total dud, and they were some of the best extractions I've ever had. So it's hard to know. I hate to say that, but it really is. So reviews, reviews, reviews. And then if you find somebody, put that review out there and let others know, because it's so helpful. What kinds of things should I look for when searching for a local esthetician? Qualifications. Yeah, it's hard because each state is different. And so for instance, in Washington state, a master esthetician is basically somebody who's qualified to use lasers, but supposed to be in a doctor's office, or do deeper peels, but supposed to be in a doctor's office. And for me, I'm not that. I did my own advanced training because I wanted to do things like LED and microcurrent and manual lymphatic drainage, which are separate courses which didn't really come with the licensing at the time. And I don't really believe in lasers and or deep peels, so I didn't want to do that. So it's hard to say what qualifications you're looking for, because one's going to sound great, but it doesn't necessarily mean it translates into extra experience of what you're looking for. Going to the big names helps. I hate to say that, but the names, the celebrity estheticians and people that have had experience and have just, yeah, spent time and energy doing all that stuff, it makes a difference. Oh God, I missed this whole thing of, oh good Lord. let's just go. Let's just do it. Okay, holistic skincare. How do I unwind and pamper after a long, stressful day? I wouldn't say I pamper because I keep my skincare routine very straightforward and very easy. I like to read, sort of. As you know, I'm always on Instagram. I'm always trying to answer questions. That actually is sort of, as long as you guys are being nice, that is fun and de-stressing for me. I like to just watch TV. I really like certain shows like we used to love, which is not on anymore, Mad Men. We watch Game of Thrones, but yeah, just TV and wine. How do I see the mind affecting our skin? How can I improve my stress reactive skin? Oh, the mind is huge. I mean, half the time when people come in and they have skin issues, I will tell them to meditate instead of buy another product. It's huge. When I meditate regularly, I notice that my skin is less red, it's less blotchy, it's less irritated. The skin is considered the external nervous system, so it's a direct correlation. Again, it's going to go back to what you put on comes off, what you put in comes out. And same thing with the mind. Do you hear now we have a car alarm? Should I do the quiet on a set? It went off. It works. Look at us. Can you recommend any supplements helping with hormonal acne that complement my skincare line? No. Yes, but no. That is outside the scope of practice again. And I want to be very clear about that because you're going to find tons of videos of estheticians being like, yes, please take zinc and vitamins. And I just said that, but don't take it. If you want that, a dermatologist or a naturopath. I have put many of my clients in touch with a naturopathic doctor, and he's recommended supplements and a specific supplement, and it has worked wonders on their skin. So yes, I do believe in that. I just personally am not going to give you information about what supplements to take. Do vitamins play an important role in healthy skin? Absolutely. Same question about nutrition. Have you found any key nutrient that improves the skin? So again, I'm sort of going to tiptoe around this one a little bit, but for instance, I find much more effect for me and my skin if I'm taking vitamin C regularly than applying it topically. Both are probably good, but for me, again, putting it inside, making sure the body's healthy. The skin is an organ, it's working with the body. How should I change my beauty routine during various seasons? Just play it by ear. Like, mine doesn't really change that much. I might add in my regular oil during the daytime in the winter, but that's about it. Like SPF all the time, cleansing all the time. Just play by ear. And a lot depends on internal stuff too, like if you have the air conditioner on, if you have the heat on. But there's no rhyme or reason of how to. Other than that, it looks like that is it. I'm sure there are questions I'm missing. I will try to get to them. But thank you guys for listening. I hope that was helpful and entertaining. I am going to break it up because this was too long. And thank you, Benita. Thank you, Hidden Harmony World, Benita. And thank you, everybody, for entering and playing along and watching. And I hope you have a happy 4th. And this end of this video will probably go up after the 4th. So I hope you had a great 4th. And happy summer. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.